Welcome to This ADHD Life, a podcast for people with ADHD, those who love us, and yes, even those who sometimes struggle to love us. And a big happy New Year's Eve to everybody that's in the United States and parts of Europe. A happy New Year's to those of you in other parts of the world that have already celebrated the turning from 2016 to 2017. Technically, I'm still counting this as being the third show in December because it is still, about 3 o'clock here on the East Coast, New Year's Eve. And you see, the thing is, I didn't really want to record and release this earlier because I didn't want you doing anything stupid for the new year. And by that, I mean making resolutions. I mentioned that a couple episodes ago, and I really meant it. So my question to you is I think on the last episode, it might have been the episode before, it may have been both episodes. Remember that short-term memory. I mentioned recording the positive things that you did in 2016. Now listen, everybody on my Facebook feed is telling me how bad a year 2016 was for many different reasons. And we certainly have lost a number of very talented and precious people this year. And we've had, political turmoil no matter which side you're on. And lots of bad stuff has happened in the world. From my perspective, though, I seem to remember having the same sort of feeling towards 2014. And I don't know, I just tend to think we as human creatures towards the end of a year, think of it as being, this is the worst year ever. What if we turn that on its head a little bit and think about the ways that we left 2016 a better year? Now, my guess is you probably, maybe started a list of really great stuff that you did in 2016. And I mean, it can be anything. It can be as simple as you consistently started to throw trash in the proper receptacle in your kitchen. Yeah, believe it or not, there are people that don't do that. You may be one of them. No judgment here. It's not something I do, but, then again, I only wash my sheets every month or so. And to some of those in the audience right now, you're probably going, every month? I do it like every week. How can you get away with that? What's going on with that? So all of us are a little bit different, but we all have goals that we tend to start the year out with. And we sometimes call those resolutions. I hate that word. So we're not going to talk about that, but think about what you did start in 2016, what you accomplished in 2016, and start making a list of that. How'd you leave the year a better you? Okay, so, I mentioned way back when the idea of a BS closet, and for new listeners, I will just mention this, that I think sort of the non-ADHD, or really all humans, we have sort of like a closet. If you think of a closet in a house in which we can, pack BS. And that is the stuff that we don't necessarily agree with the world, but we have to do it anyway because that's just part of the world. And if we don't do it, we're not going to be better off for it. So, for example, one of them is, for me, I don't quite get the idea of, renting 2 bedrooms from someone just so I can pack it full of couches and TVs because I can't possibly share those with other people. I don't quite get that concept. It's something that I do. It's something that maybe someday I won't do, but that's one of the things that fits in that closet. Likewise, a lot of us love our families, but maybe not as much as we might like to during the holidays. The holidays come with an awful lot of BS, no matter whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, don't celebrate at all, celebrate Festivus, something else. A lot of times we're doing stuff that we don't intend or we don't plan to do the rest of the year. Buying presents, making huge lavish meals, eating a lot. And by the way, when we eat a lot, our ADHD tends to get worse. And just generally, the traffic is worse. And if you need to go out to the mall for something, that's kind of worse. And even going out to dinner with friends is worse. I mean, I don't know. How many of you tend to hole yourselves up in the month of December? For example, I tell my friends and family that it's miraculous to me, it's mysterious to me, that Costco actually closes for the entire month of December. And that's the way I choose to look at it. I will not set foot in a Costco during the entire month of December. The point is, all of us as humans have a closet in which we pack the stuff that we don't necessarily like doing, we don't agree with. And my theory is that those of us with ADHD just happen to have smaller closets. So if someone without ADHD has this lavish walk-in closet furnished by California Closets and everything is organized, we have like a janitor's closet. And you can understand that our closet starts to fill a lot quicker. And right now, this time of year, we tend to be overflowing, right? BS is kind of overflowing from the closet. And then we think, hey, you know what? 2017, Wow. New year. I got to do a bunch of new things. I got to do stuff different. I was not good in 2016. I need to drop 20 pounds. I need to get my finances under control. I need to reconnect with X, Y, and Z. I need to do this, that, and the other thing. And we try to force ourselves into these New Year's resolutions. And luckily in my lifetime, I'm hearing less and less about resolutions, but there's still something about the turning of that clock tonight that makes a lot of people think, okay, well, Sunday, 2017, I'm going to get out and I'm going to run an hour every day until I give up on it in the middle of January. Why are we doing this to ourselves? If our BS closets are overflowing, and by the way, I would say that probably anybody without ADHD, their BS closets are probably overflowing as well. And they have these lavish palaces of ADHD closets. We go right from that season, take no time to recuperate, and then try to force ourselves to do things which frankly are unnatural. If you don't run right now, and I don't, and I tried to go out tomorrow and run an hour, well, I would text out, I'd tweet out where you can send flowers to me in the hospital because that just wouldn't work. So it seems kind of crazy to me. And this seemed crazy to me a number of years ago. So sort of the secret behind this show is that 5-6 years ago, I wanted to become sort of like a lifestyle blogger. Some sort of asterisk hacks type thing. Although I didn't want to call it that because everybody is hacking this, that, and the other thing. But I had all of these ideas and many of them would come to me on vacation about how life just didn't make sense to me. And I thought, hey, I'm going to start this lifestyle blog and I'm going to make all of this sense to all of the people in the world and things will change and people's lives will be easier. Yeah, that was before the ADHD diagnosis. I still think what I'm talking about today actually does make sense for all of the world, ADHD or not. But specifically for ADHDers, I think it makes the most sense that what do you do instead of resolutions? What do you do for the month of January? Relax. Take some time to unload the BS closet. Think of it as a BS closet decluttering. Go in there, kind of extract the stuff that you had to deal with that you don't need to deal with anymore, and just kind of put it in the mental recycle bin and then empty that. Take some time to just kind of decompress from the holidays, from all of the flurry of activity, the social interactions, the food. Get back to eating your normal diet. You'll start to lose some weight, believe it or not, because you're no longer eating dessert every night. Now, certainly there's going to be stuff that you kind of have to do, right? We have jobs, we have to go about doing our jobs, and we need to feed ourselves, so maybe go to the grocery store or to restaurants if that's your thing instead. And yeah, laundry's going to have to be done, although I've mentioned before you could get a laundry service or take the laundry to a dry cleaner or a laundromat that'll do it for the pound. But you don't need to vacuum your house every day or every week. You don't have to dust. There are things that you do not have to do for the month of January that if you don't do them, that's just fine, because your goal for the month of January is to get your BS closet as close to zero as possible. Now, of course, like I said, there's going to be totes full of stuff that you don't understand that you just have to do because we're a human being living on this planet with a majority of non-ADHDers. Yeah, see my reference to renting property 30 feet in the sky. But that's it. Instead of a resolution for January, that's it. Just relax. Give yourself some space. Try to decompress. Try to unpack all of that stuff from the holidays. Do not feel guilty if you're sitting in front of Netflix and, binge watching Breaking Bad or House. By the way, I discovered that House is on Netflix today, and I didn't see all of the seasons of House. So who wants to make a bet with me that I will be binge watching a few seasons of House by the time that I maybe even record this next episode of the podcast? So, obviously, as humans, we like to have goals. We like to improve. For example, this past year, I dropped about 20 pounds. I, at one point, had dropped 35 pounds. I'm choosing to celebrate the fact that I dropped 20 pounds in 2016. And you know what? If I could drop another 20 pounds in 2017, another in 2018, I would be perfectly happy. I'd be at a weight that I consider healthy. My doctors who use the standard BMI scale may not, but they can get a different scale. But I'd be perfectly happy with that. There are improvements to be made. There's some things I'd like to do in my business to better track, maybe do some programs or something like that. All of that stuff might start to percolate into your mind during the month of January. It's amazing how when we give ourselves space, and by the way, those of you who've heard of the getting things done method of productivity, the author David Allen mentions that keeping track of your stuff in his system or in a really good way, and I'm putting good in air quotes, It frees you up so that you can be doing things that you want to be doing because you know what you're actually not doing. It makes sense. I've mentioned getting things done is, I think, ADHD hell in terms of productivity. By the way, info at thisadhdlife.com if you have comments, or go to thisadhdlife.com and you can comment on the podcast post as well. But as we take time to relax, as we do nothing, as we watch House, as we, I don't know, some people like to take some long baths in January, as we're just kind of vegging out, maybe we're walking some more just because we enjoy walking. That's kind of a paradox, isn't it? I actually really enjoy walking sometimes because it clears my head. As we're listening to new podcasts, as we're playing with the Christmas presents we got, as we're doing anything except forcing ourselves to try to change, our brain automatically starts going, oh, okay, you're not forcing me to do anything. Well, I've always wanted to do this. I've wanted to kayak down the Nile. I don't know. Is that even possible? Okay, maybe that's not something that's going to be done, but we'll just file that back. At that point, the true things that we would like to do tend to come out. And so I'm not suggesting that we can't have goals for the year. As an ADHDer, and again, this was going to be a post in my lifestyle blog, I like the idea of mini goals. Personally, I like to do things sort of in quarters or about 3-month periods. And I always start in February because if I try to start in January, it's just not going to work. And I'm proposing to you, do not start anything new in January. It's a recipe for disaster, as I've been mentioning. All right, so that's it. No resolutions. Relax, unpack that BS closet, take some stuff out to the BS recycle bin, the BS Goodwill, whatever you want to call it. Get rid of it. Let it process through. Relax. Start noticing the ideas that your brain has when you start to relax. Maybe write a few down, and then tune in a few weeks, and I will mention kind of what I think is the first mini goal type thing to work on. You see, a number of years ago, as I mentioned, I thought of, oh, wow, this is the perfect way to work on things. And by the way, perfect is impossible, episode 1. Spoilers, I already know that the anniversary episode is going to be about perfection. Tune in a few weeks, and I will have something about that. All right. As always, I mentioned info at thisadhdlife.com. Thisadhdlife.com is the website. Please go to iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and like and subscribe to the show. And if you have a moment, maybe write a 5-star review. I understand this time of year is tough. If you don't have it in you to do it, that's fine. But I got to say it. I podcast now. Also, patreon.com/thisadhdlife. I know probably the holiday credit card bills are coming through, and the last thing you want to do is to try to, sponsor or help this random dude on the internet that just happens to be producing podcasts. But if you have some spare money and you would like to help support the show, please go to there, patreon.com/thisadhdlife. And most importantly to me right now, because for some reason I'm seeing a lot of likes popping up on the Facebook page, I would love it if you would go to facebook.com/thisadhdlife and just give it a like. It's another one of those things that I don't get. There are algorithms in the world that help surface good content for ADHDers, and one of the algorithms, frankly, works on likes. So if you could do that for me, I would appreciate it. Facebook.com/thisadhdlife. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode. I don't know if it's going to be the goals one. I actually have the 2 episodes mapped out. I just didn't think to look at it before I recorded this podcast. That's it. Relax. Have a good couple of weeks, and remember, this whole show is kind of about this, but remember, if you don't take care of yourself, if you can't take care of yourself, if you won't do this, if you will not relax, if you will not unpack your BS closet, if you just refuse to take care of yourself, how the heck are you going to take care of anybody else?